Hi YouTube, I'm Patrick and I live in a tiny house with my cat Meow Meows and my beautiful wife, and today I'm going to show you how to make barbecue ribs my way. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe, otherwise you'll be missing out on some good recipes coming up, and like this video. Please follow us on Instagram, we'll put the link in the description, and so let's get into it. So I'm going to show you today how to make my famous ribs, as Corey would call it. They're super tender, juicy, fall off the bone ribs, and we make a whole rack for the two of us because we can use it for leftovers and stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to show you some of the ingredients. It's never the same every time, and you can take things out or put things in as you please. So we're going to start with some brown sugar, probably like 3 tablespoons, but this is a little bit of MSG. Italian herb seasoning. Probably, give it a good shake. It's probably a good tablespoon. Cumin, go with a tablespoon. Garlic powder, go with a tablespoon. Chili flakes, go with, just a light shake. Cayenne, just put a very little of that, maybe a half teaspoon. Onion powder, half a tablespoon. Celery salt, probably half a tablespoon. This isn't rocket science, guys. All right. Alright, so this is going to be your rub for your ribs. So when you get it all combined nicely, set it aside. We're going to start with our meat here. I like to get my meat from the most expensive place I can afford. This time I bought it from the supermarket. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by removing the membrane in the back here. It can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but you just gotta, this is a very important step as well. You can't skip this step. I just cut my nails, so once you get it peeling back, it's okay. Do not skip this step, otherwise your ribs will not, they'll tighten up and just be awful. So get that off of it. It is a pain in the ass, but trust me, this step is worth it. So now that we've removed all that, we are going to start rubbing this down. Grab your rub. It smells really good. Pat it on, get it all into the cracks and crevices. You're going to use half on one side and half on the other. I've got one side done. I'm in a tiny house here, so I gotta, work smart. So I've got my sheet pan here. Grab my foil. I'm gonna rip the piece off. Alright, so I've got the foil down, got the meat in, rub side down. Now I'm just going to continue to rub this other side. It's going to seem like you're going nuts with the rub, but trust me. Alright, so now that we got both sides rubbed down real nice, we're going to put a cap on this and then seal the edges up. So get another piece. You only need one on the top because you're not like flipping this thing around or anything. Alright, so we're going to start, and we're starting at back edge here. Careful not to tear this. Start folding this. Creasing that over. And again, make sure you get all the layers. See, I missed a layer there. That's alright. Small folds. You want to get this as watertight as possible. Just keep going. It's almost like you're rolling it. That's how small folds you're doing. Okay. When you get it to that point, about halfway to the rib, about halfway there, you're going to start on this side here. Just be really careful not to tear it. It is really easy to tear. This is actually heavy duty foil, and it's a bigger than a standard roll, but still tears really easily. So the whole purpose of packaging this thing up like this is to keep all of the juices in, and it keeps it real, you know, tender, fall off the bone. Now that we got the edges almost to the meat, we're gonna come back to this back edge. I'm gonna fold that again. I've learned through the past experience on this step, going back and folding that back over the other folds, it keeps all the juices in, so you're not having a big juice fest in your pan. Keep rolling that up. All right, so we're at the meat there. All right, so what you're gonna do now is finish rolling these in and kind of like bring the corner up like that. Okay, same over here, bring the corner up. This just helps, again, keep all the juices in. All right, and then just close that up lightly. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit in the refrigerator for, I'm gonna say at least an hour, but I'm gonna keep mine in there all day because I have enough time. But if you only have an hour or even a half hour, let it sit and let it marinate. All right, so the ribs have been marinating in the fridge for 4 hours, and then I removed from the fridge and then I've let get room temperature for about 2 hours. So they've been marinating for 6 hours total. You can let your ribs marinate as long as you want, but just make sure everything's room temperature before you start this process. So what we're gonna do is, I have a homebrew beer here. Please check out my other videos for all the homebrew videos and stuff that we do. This is a blueberry ale, and I'm gonna use this to put in here, but you can use any of your favorite beers you want. So I'm gonna open this packet back up that we've lightly sealed. So it smells amazing and looks nice and caramelized from the sugar. You just want to tilt your tray and then pour about half this beer in. It's about half. Okay, so you got half your beer in, and then we're just going to take the Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire, and just give a good couple glugs of that in there. I'd say it's probably a good tablespoon worth anyway. Now we're going to bring this packet completely sealed shut. Don't want any of those juices to get out. It smells so good. It's just like the herbs and the sugar and the spices. It just smells so freaking unbelievable. And you just know that cooking it is just gonna, the flavor is gonna be so amazing. So just make sure you get this nice and sealed, really tight. You're like making like a pressure vessel almost. You'll see when it's cooking, it's gonna blow up like a balloon, kind of. All right, so we've got our unit sealed up. What we're gonna do now is we are going to bring it to the barbecue. You can either put it in the barbecue like I do, or you can use the oven at home. Really low temperature, really low. You want slow and low here. We're gonna put it in for about an hour and a half to 2 hours tops. That's it. I don't have an oven, so we cook everything in our barbecue that requires baking or oven cooking. Feel free to use your oven, no big deal. Make sure to check out our other barbecue cooking video, which is cooking pizza. We're gonna grab our ribs. Okay, we're just gonna put it on just like we did with the pizza. We have a heat break here. We just use a muffin tin. Right, and then we're just going to turn all the burners to high. Close the lid. We're going to come back in about 10 minutes, and we're going to turn it down to low. So it's been cooking on high heat, all burners on high for 10 minutes. You can see the pack is expanded. It's like a big balloon now, okay, and it's going to get bigger as we cook. What we're going to do is we're going to turn both the middle burners off, and both the outside ones on the low, and that's going to just circulate heat around that. And so we're going to set our timer, set it for an hour,
And we will then add another 30 minutes onto that. So it's been an hour and a half. We're just gonna open it up carefully and have a look. You can see it's balloon. Be careful because this will let a lot of steam out. So after evaluation, I'm gonna let it go for another half hour just to make sure it is 100% ready to go.
All right, so the ribs have cooked for 2 hours on low heat. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the top off so we can let it cool down a little bit. And then we can use this broth to make our barbecue sauce. So just be careful because it's very hot. Okay, nice and tender. So now I'm going to show you how to make the barbecue sauce from the leftover juices from the meat. But first we'll just let it cool a little bit so it's a little bit more manageable. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes. We are going to drain a little bit of this, the juices off from this, okay? Alright, so pour the juice from your ribs. You just poke a hole in the foil. And then you just pour it into your bowl. It's all flavor, by the way. We've got our juices in the pan. Probably, I'm going to say about, this is probably a cup of juice. Now I'm going to add a few glugs of hoisin sauce. I've got some Manuka barbecue. I'm going to put a little bit of that in. I'm going to say probably 2 tablespoons. We've got some tomato sauce. Good tablespoon and a half. Worcestershire. Cheshire. A little bit. And also here's some hickory liquid smoke. You just want a little bit of that in there. Gives it some really good depth, really good flavor. And I'm going to add the rest of that brown sugar that I had earlier. Okay. Turn the heat on. And we're just going to bring that to a simmer and just let it thicken up a little bit so we can spread it on our ribs. Alright, so we're bubbling away here. Just waiting for it to thicken up just a little bit more. Alright, so this sauce is just about ready to go. You can see it's pretty good. It streamlines off there. So we're going to shut that off. We're going to go back to our ribs and I'll show you what's next. Alright, so we've drained the juices. We've made our sauce. I'm going to show you how to dress this thing. Got our nice sauce here. Delicious. Alright, we're just going to baste this thing. Heavy basting. Don't be shy. Let it go over the edges, you know. Lift that up. Sauce in there. You can tell it's just falling away from the bone. It just looks incredible. So I am going to reserve a bit of the sauce here. Just to have extra sauce, you know. Some people like it real saucy like me. And we're just going to put it back into the oven to give that a bit of color and let the sauce kind of cook into it. And probably for 5 or 10 minutes. So I put it back into the grill, high heat, and we're just going to let that go for about 5 to 10 minutes to get it nice and caramelized or whatever you want to call it. So after spreading our ribs with the homemade sauce we made, we've cooked in the barbecue for 10 minutes on high heat. As you can see, it's really just kind of soaked into the meat there and looks just delicious. So I'm just gonna cut a piece off and show you what it's like. Probably just gonna cut the end off here. Just delicious. Oh, it's Like that. And we like to serve it with our homemade kiwi baked beans. Secret ingredient is kiwi fruit. So, we'll serve it with that. A little bit of that. Just gonna put a little more sauce on, and let's give these a try. You can see they're very pull apart. Just pulls right apart like that. Real easy. Just delicious. Comes right off the bone. But still holds its stability, you know? It's not like turned to mush. It's still kind of got a bite. And that's what that extra barbecuing does. It gives kind of a bark to it instead of just being mush if you take it straight out of the oven. Let's try the beans. If you want the recipe to the beans, I'll be coming out with that shortly. But A+. A+ in my book. If you don't try this, you're missing out. You have to try this at home. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Please subscribe, like, check out our other videos. And yeah, see you later.